is it to be welcomed by a hometown crowd tomorrow?
It feels great. I can't wait. It's for one, it's nice to be back here. You know what I mean, and sleep in your own bed. But I can't wait to see what this place is like tomorrow. You know, watching it on video from across the country with the people here watching. Never seen anything like that. Never seen a watch party like that. So I'm excited as hell to see what this place is like tomorrow. The guys are too. They're talking about it as well. We can't wait. You know, you kind of want the game to start right now, but it should be fun. Whenever you start a spring training, this is kind of where you want to end up. Doesn't always happen, you know, so you have to appreciate it. But, yeah, man, this is the story of the 2025 Blue Jays.
The 2025 Toronto Blue Jays. One thing is certain, no matter what happens in games 6 and 7, this team will be talked about for the rest of the franchise's history. I'm Dan. That's Kyle. That's Keegan. And Keegs, when we started talking in spring training, every single week for the entire year, there is no chance. Well, I can say for myself, I thought we would be talking about this team for the rest of our lives.
Oh, absolutely not. No. And I don't believe in rewriting history to pretend I was in front of this. You know, there's already enough of that, you know. I said all along they were a pesky lineup. Get out of here. Okay, stop it. Also, allow yourself to be amazed by things.
Yes.
Not everything needs to be explained and retold in a way that, the numbers said this was coming. No. Allow yourself to be amazed by this team. And it's been so incredible to cover them, to be around them. And guys, they have forever changed how I'm going to view baseball, how I'm going to view this job. And if I do this for another 10 or 20 years, we'll see. There's going to be years where I show up for spring training again, most years, where the team is somewhere in between a World Series team and a crappy team. And every single year for the rest of my career, I'm going to remember this team as the example of what can happen. And this will be the team that a lot of other organizations point to next year as well as the team that you hope you become. Absolutely amazing.
Keegan, at the top of the show today, we actually started with a clip of John Schneider talking about going back home, talking about the crowd they expect to see in Toronto once again, talking about the watch parties. We saw in Los Angeles how easy it was to take that crowd out of the game. It's not the case in Toronto. How much of that crowd's reaction is the fact that no one expected them to be here?
That's big. And in LA, guys, I've never seen such a gap in between crowds. Game 1 was the loudest I've ever been in. And LA has the advantage of another 15,000 people. Okay, I'm not crapping on Toronto. They have 55, 56K in that stadium. And they have their speakers turned to a volume that is inhumane. It is sickening. Okay, I'm always the guy that complains about how loud it is in stadiums. It was criminal how loud it is in there. But games 2 and 3, it goes off a cliff. And at Dodger Stadium, too, guys, there's so many hype videos that they go beyond hype, and it's almost into like extremist propaganda. It's very much, we are the Dodgers. No one else is us. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. You're a ball club. Calm down. But back in Toronto, it's a little more steady, I think. And those watch parties, guys, were some of the coolest things I've ever seen. Normally a watch party for a team that's on a cup run or something, you know, you have the watch party at your rink when they're at the other one. Most times when I see that, I think like, God, isn't there like a cooler bar you could go to or something? But having that in the middle of downtown Toronto, what an image. Amazing. And the home field advantage is real, guys, that they've had this year. Their record at home has been unbelievable. And the crowds at home have been unbelievable, not just in the playoffs, but going back to about August. They had that stretch of 20, 25 down the stretch, almost all of them sellouts. And you see it, guys, in the TV numbers. I mean, Jesus, the TV numbers that Sportsnet is putting up right now, they're almost getting as many viewers as the United States are on Fox. And the U.S. is a little bit bigger. It's absolutely unreal to see these numbers.
Just want to point out that I went to a watch party at the Dome in '92, and I can say it's come a long way because it was like in darkness, and it's a lot better vibe now. I dove into a YouTube rabbit hole last night watching American broadcasters talk about this series because I wanted to see, are we just living in a bubble here? Is this like John Smoltz said he has never been in a stadium as loud as he witnessed in Toronto. and also the American media latching on to the Blue Jays as a team that plays baseball the way it's supposed to be played. And that's not boring. That's exciting. So it's great to see that we aren't on an island thinking this is a great thing when you look outside and say, no, everyone else is seeing it too.
It's refreshing. The way baseball is supposed to be played, that's what you say when you see a team winning and you can't really explain it. And it's, this is the way you're supposed to play the game. But it's been encouraging, I think, to see a lot of American interest be, like we talked about earlier, just be amazed by this team and not trying to undermine it. I've avoided doing some requests on the other side of the border just because I know which places I'll run into that where it's like, wow, what's up with this plucky Canadian team? Their payroll is like 200 plus million, but they're not a plucky upstart grinder team. Okay, they're really talented. They have superstars, but I think that the appreciation for that is now spreading across baseball because everybody knows Vladdy, easy. Everybody knows George Springer. They all know Bo Bichette. But you're now seeing an American audience be opened up to the majesty of Alejandro Kirk, right? You're getting them in front of Ernie Clement, who's one of the most underrated players in Major League Baseball, and Trey Savage. Like the entire league is seeing his coming out party, not just Toronto, all of baseball. So it's really cool, guys. And I think it changes looking a week beyond where we are right now. This changes the Blue Jays' stance in Major League Baseball and the space they occupy permanently. Okay, we saw that in the 90s. It's going to happen again. It's really cool to witness in real time.
So they actually do have to play these games. And tonight
Yeah.
is game 6. And we see a rematch of game 2, Gossman against Yamamoto. How do the Blue Jays get to Yamamoto tonight?
Man, you're not going to get to him much. You've got to try to score 2 runs instead of 1 run this time. But I think a similar approach, guys, that we have seen against some of their other starters like Snell and like Glass now. Very different pitchers because they have lesser arsenals and just frankly not as much talent as Yamamoto. He is, I would say, guys, beyond Paul Skeens, maybe the one pitcher in Major League Baseball I'd want to have on the mound for my team. But as we see on the screen there, his ERA does not say 0, right? He is beatable. He is human. And if he throws you 100 pitches tonight in game 6, all 100 of them will not be perfect. There will be a couple that leak over the plate a couple inches more than he wants. The Blue Jays need to decide if aggression or patience is the approach. It's a very one or the other thing for me. Now, is it aggression where you go after pitches number 1 and 3 like they did in game 5? We'll see. Or is it patience and you try to get to the Dodgers bullpen, which is still a weakness? I think the quicker you get there, the better. But if the Blue Jays can get to the bullpens, theirs and LA's, if Gosman and Yamamoto leave the game and it's tied, big advantage Toronto.
Huge advantage, Toronto. My Dodgers friends, they are beside themselves when that bullpen door opens. The one thing the Jays have going for them with Yamamoto is it's his second time pitching against them. He's coming off back-to-back complete games. And what is it? He's not on his usual rest. He's had one extra day or one less day.
I believe at this point it would be 1 extra. And
So that might throw him off. All these things might throw him off.
Matter. And I would argue, guys, that seeing Yamamoto for a second time is more advantageous than seeing Gosman for a second time because Gosman just is who he is. And what I love about him is that he embraces that and he says it out loud. He says, listen, like I'm going to throw my fastball high and my splitter low, and I'm going to bet that I'm better than the hitter. That's all he does. Whereas Yamamoto has such a deep mix of pitches. I compare him to someone like Chris Bassett, but if everything was cranked up 50%, he throws 5, 6, 7 different pitches. He just has more velocity and movement. But when you finally get a look at that a second time, that might be helpful. Whereas Kevin Gosman, you know who he is going in. So that could be a small advantage. But God, he's still Yamamoto. He is still an unbelievable pitcher.
And he's a guy that's actually never pitched with this much pressure either. And we don't know how he'll respond to that, though he certainly has the stuff. And for the Dodgers tonight, it seems like it doesn't seem like it. It is a situation in which it is all hands on deck. They cannot lose another game. What are the chances we see Ohtani on the mound or even Glass now a day early or something?
I'd love to see Ohtani, guys. Maybe a Glass now is a bit likelier because he and Snell are kind of relievers anyways. They just pitch a lot longer. You know, they are guys who let it rip with a fastball and slider. I think the Glass now would make some sense. Maybe Ohtani in a potential game 7. The challenge of Ohtani, I guess, is that you're keeping him in the lineup. So what that would have to look like is bring in Ohtani for the 7th and 8th innings. But then if you need to have him take another at bat, you probably have to hide him in a corner outfield spot for a couple of innings. It's tricky, but again, whatever. He's the best player in the world. You make that risk to get Ohtani in there. But I would like Glass now a bit more right now if I'm Dave Roberts. And man, I am if I'm the Blue Jays, I'm pretty scared of what Ohtani's going to bring to this game, guys. We've seen him in these must-win big elimination games. He's been quiet for a day or two, and Ohtani does not stay quiet for 3 days very often.
And he got embarrassed swinging
God,
and missing
yeah.
so bad that his helmet came off against Usevich. Davis Schneider had his World Series moment. First pitch home run. American broadcasters were talking about how this guy looks like he could play in the 80s. This guy's great. So it made fans miss George Springer a little less, but that doesn't mean we don't want to see, or Jays fans don't want to see George Springer return.
Yeah, and I want to see George have this opportunity himself, just for how much I respect him as a ball player, guys, and what he's been through this season, what he's been through in Toronto. This is year 5 for him of 6. And Dan, going back to what we talked about off the top, when we talked in spring training, I would have bet that on October 31st, we were talking about whether the Blue Jays should DFA George Springer. I thought that we'd be coming off another bad year with a 670 OPS, and the Jays would have missed the playoffs. And I would have expected that today we're talking about, man, do the Jays really need to carry George Springer for another year, or should they get a young guy in there? Now he's going to end up on MVP ballots. He's going to be a top 10 MVP finisher in the American League. He has battled through a ton of injuries, but guys, they're calling it right side discomfort. Let's assume it's an oblique. I don't like assuming, but there's not much else in your right side. So oblique injuries are tough, man. That's not a 4 or 5 day thing. The Blue Jays were open to him pinch running. He's going to try swinging a bat again today pregame. But God, it would still surprise me if he's in the starting lineup. I hope he gets to be part of this just because he's been so important to it. But that's tough. Obliques are nasty.
Yeah, it's tricky, and like, you know, if maybe they got one more at bat out of him sort of situation, right?
Yeah.
To conclude about the Jays, how have they managed to stump this Dodgers lineup, and coming back home, how do they continue to do so tonight?
And frankly, guys, I think they're getting a bit of help from the Dodgers. You know, Mookie
Yeah.
Betts, especially. Where's Mookie Betts in this series? That shocked me, especially in that game, guys. The 18-inning game. I know they won it, but over and over, they're putting Ohtani on base, plopping a base runner in front of former MVP Mookie Betts, and he's not doing anything with it.
I saw him
And-
talking to the media. He admitted, he says,
Yeah.
I've been horrible.
Been terrible. And he's right. And I respect Mookie as a ball player, but how he handled that as well. So they need Mookie Betts to do something, because you know Ohtani's going to, but they haven't gotten much from the bottom of their lineup either, guys. This has really surprised me, what we've seen from the Dodgers, some of their sloppy play as well. So the Blue Jays seem to be catching LA at the right time when they're just a great team, maybe not an elite team right now. But my eyes are going to be on Mookie Betts tonight, guys. Ohtani will do what he does. If the Dodgers get something from Mookie, they can extend this. If they don't, I think it ends.
The anthem will be insane. The atmosphere will be insane. And Keegs, it may be the last time this season you hear "Okay, Blue Jays."
A tear runs down my face. Hopefully the anthem's a bit better. We'll see. I need a star out there for the anthem. Come on now.
Yeah, maybe the weekend shows up or the Beebs. Enjoy it. Soak it all in.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
That's Keegan Matheson, our Jays insider. And I got a bit of FOMO when I just started thinking about the anthem, because I cry every time the anthem gets played. So if I was in attendance there, Kyle, I would be a puddle.
Yeah, and you know, if we get a bit of a crossover between the English and French language tonight, perhaps they could use the correct French words this time around, because
They messed it up?
Oh, I am always able to recall it from my grade school days when we were taught it both ways. And I'm quite certain the last time out, that was not how you say our anthem in French. But I could be wrong. I mean, we've gone over. We don't even know which French broadcast station we broadcast these games on, but I'm quite certain that's not how it is. I'll check with my mother. She's a French Canadian.
It's a 2-anthem game on Canadian soil with the Jays having an opportunity to win the World Series as we bring in our good friend Todd Fuhrman. And Todd, this is a great look, my friend. Where did you find that?
So a little bit of a backstory here. As we've said on this show earlier, I'm a Yankees fan through and through. But when I went to Toronto in the late 80s, and the first time that I ever went to the Sky Dome back then, this was the hat that my parents purchased for me. I think they wanted to embarrass me up and down the Canadian streets when we were up there for a hockey tournament. But I happened to find this in the mothballs. I figured I had to bring it out because it was something along with a Joe Carter pennant that I had in my bedroom as well. So you know what? Given everything that's at stake tonight, it's also the closest look that I can get to being the Chiquita Banana Girl or looking like a Vegas showgirl. So I'm trying to roll it all together on this very festive holiday today.
Everything old is new again. If they put those for sale now, they would sell.
I mean, look, maybe I can put this one up. I can try and get about $12 compared to the $6 Canadian that I think we spent on it back in the day. And that would be massive appreciation. But guys, let's not bury the lead here. I'm disappointed. You two being Canadian royalty, how have they not rolled out the red carpet to have you in attendance for the magnitude of tonight's game?
They know how important it is that we stay home and do these shows, Todd. It's the people want what the people want, and unfortunately, we don't get to choose.
It's unbelievable, the amount of disrespect thrown about around here. Look, I can understand why they keep Dan away from big crowds, but I figured you'd have a little bit of a better opportunity.
No comment.
Hey, has the line changed at all? Are the Jays favorites yet?
I mean, they're favorites to win the series now. You got 2 chances to win 1 game, but talk about a far cry from where the betting market was after they lost that heartbreaker on the Freddie Freeman walk-off in the 18th inning of Game 3. I mean, the Jays had drifted all the way out to a 4.5 to 1 underdog to win the World Series at that point. What have they done since then? You guys kind of alluded to it with Keegan. They've silenced the Dodgers' bats. Nobody has come up with a timely hit. They're not hitting with runners in scoring position. And I almost feel, like I said, as a Yankee fan, I'm getting deja vu because the Dodgers think they're trying to drive everything into the seats instead of manufacturing runs. And credit to the Jays. Their strength all season long had been putting balls in play and everybody raising their level of play to do the little things. And that's exactly what we saw in Game 4 and Game 5. Hopefully the change in venue doesn't take away from some of the fundamentals that have paid dividends, at least through the first 5 games of this series.
At this point in the series, with the Dodgers going in as minus 155 favorites tonight, that's purely a Yamamoto effect at this point, right?
100%. And I think you're going to see some money come in on the Jays that's going to take this number down. I mean, Yamamoto has been the saving grace for this Dodgers staff. You wonder how long a leash he'll have in this particular spot, given some of the frailty that we've seen in that bullpen. So if Yamamoto were to get into an early jam, does Dave Roberts go, we've been here, done that, and we have to give him the opportunity to get out of it? Whereas the Jays, I think you have to treat this, as cliche as it sounds, like a Game 7. You don't want to go to that winner-take-all situation and have to lean on Max Scherzer. So if Kevin Gausman were to get in trouble early in this game, you try and cobble together 27 outs any which way possible here in this particular spot. But that's the nice luxury you're afforded by coming home with a 3-2 lead in the series. Far from commanding, but a better spot to be in than knowing that your backs are against the wall.
The baseball gods, if they exist, would make it a Game 7. So Max Scherzer could potentially win a World Series in his last start in the big leagues.
I mean, it would be pretty wild if that's what we got. The storylines would kind of write themselves. I'm not sure that, Jays fans would be comfortable or able to sleep the night before going into a pivotal Game 7. But at the same time, it's been 30 years since we saw that Joe Carter walk-off emotional home run, and maybe history can repeat itself in that regard. But on the flip side of things, what I think would be fascinating tonight, guys, is I think about the movie Major League. When they go to the scene when the Indians win the pennant or they win the division, I can't remember, the storylines blur together. And you have like the construction workers hugging everybody and the bikers in the bar. I feel like that's the scene we can create in Toronto, because you'll have the Jays fans flooding out of the building if they win, with people decked out in Halloween costumes, creating quite the eclectic mix if they're able to close things out tonight.
If I'm not terribly mistaken, every Mountie in this country has been repositioned into the downtown core this weekend in Toronto, as they should be, because personally, I want to sit back and watch the chaos of a potential Game 6 victory on Halloween night. But if it happens anytime this weekend, oh, baby, you think the Raptors or something, the roof will blow off an entire city.
And
Yeah,
there's gonna
I
be a
was
lot
gonna-
of costumes in the crowd. I just realized that a lot of people are going to dress up to go to the game.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, this is the question I have. Can you imagine spending what the get-in price is for the game and going, you know what? I'm going to show up as Big Bird, or I'm going to go as my favorite Disney character for a game like this. So I feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But, you know, look, if you can take advantage of Halloween falling on potentially an iconic sports night, then I guess you kind of have to reap the benefits. But the question I'll ask you guys, I mean, in the grand scheme of it, if the Jays win tonight, I mean, it puts the Raptors championship so far down the back burner. I mean, is this more important than the Leafs winning, or how do we rank these potential Toronto championships? Although the Leafs winning a Stanley Cup, let's not sugarcoat, it might not happen another 50, 60 years.
Well, Leafs haven't won in 100 years. At least there are people alive that witnessed the Jays last win, me being one of them. And I remember going downtown Peterborough after they won in 1993, and it was chaos in every town across Canada. So I hope that repeats itself. By the way, it is the highest priced ticket in Canadian sports history tonight.
What is the going rate for an average ticket, if you have that information in front of you, Toolsy?
Upper deck seats, the last I checked, are in the $3,000 range.
Yeah.
Upper
That's
deck seats.
You got to sell a lot of Halloween candy and a lot of these babies to be able to afford one of those seats.
Those seats at one point when the Jays were bad were $5 each.
You mean they paid you $5 Canadian to go into the game, is what you're saying?
And they drop you a hot dog from a drone.
I can respect it. It's an all-in viewing experience. You know, everyone I'm sure was champing at the bit back in the day to see Orioles and the Jays playing meaningless AL East baseball in the middle of July.
I love that everyone has latched on to the Jays because they just want to see the Dodgers lose.
It's the evil empire. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, that's how people felt about the Yankees. That's how people feel about the Dodgers at this point. And I think on some level, it's been pretty entertaining to watch those high-priced Dodgers bats fall completely silent. Meanwhile, you watch a kid that was pitching at East Carolina last year go out there and kind of silence them with one of the more dominant and improbable performance that we have seen in a World Series game, given what Yusevich did in Game 5.
Todd, as of Sunday night, everyone in Ontario and Canada more broadly will once again be able to turn their attention to the NFL and to the Buffalo Bills, which, you know, they've always kind of de facto been Canada's team other than the biggest market ones. Possibly the biggest game of the NFL season tonight, maybe the most exciting potentially. Sorry, on Sunday night, Kansas City travels to Buffalo. Buffalo is +2 underdog. Does that line feel right?
I mean, these games have meant more in the regular season of Buffalo, and it's hard to ignore the trend, albeit a very short sample size, where Buffalo raises their level of play because they know how much more important this game is to them than it is to Kansas City. They play with that extra level of desperation. And the number, in my opinion, is priced correctly. The betting market quickly catching up to Kansas City, who I have power rated as the top team in the league, especially as this offense gets to be a little bit more dynamic. With the return of Rashee Rice, it allows Xavier Worthy to slot more comfortably. And look, playing without Isaiah Pacheco this weekend could be addition by subtraction if it means more touches for Brashard Smith. But I haven't tangled with a side or total. We know that Dan's going to tie the over in 13 different iterations as one of the highest totals on the board to every single parlay he's going to place with Bet Rivers this weekend. But for me, I'll actually give you an over. It's going to be Josh Allen rushing attempts, one over 7.5 attempts, laid a price tag right around $1.40. We've seen Buffalo in these high leverage games, Allen's willingness to take off as a runner. Maybe we'll get a knee. Maybe we'll get a couple of short yardage scrambles. But I think Josh Allen has an excellent chance to flirt with 10 rushing attempts.
It is a high total, 52.5, not the highest of the weekend. That goes to the Cardinals and Cowboys at 53.5. And every single week, when I point out the highest total of the week, it goes over, just like last week between the Cowboys and Broncos. They finished that one 44-24 for the Broncos. It went way over. So does the highest total of the week, Cardinals and Cowboys, go over?
So I said that I wasn't going to get in the way of this Dallas Cowboys over freight train, but I do think we've reached a little bit of a tipping point here on Monday Night Football with this number being as big as it is. Arizona offensively doesn't want to turn this into a track meet. They're going to move the football a little bit more methodically with Kyler Murray back under center. It's a little bit more of a short controlled passing game. And while Dallas has been as dynamic as any team in the league, especially playing at home, I actually think Arizona's defense could make life a little bit more difficult. So I'm not going to advocate for going under, but I'm not going to give you that proverbial rubber stamp to go over the total on Monday Night Football.
The Colts are minus 3.5-point favorites heading into Pittsburgh. The line feels right to me, but will this game tell us any more about how for real this Colts team is?
I think they are for real. They've answered a lot of the questions from an offensive standpoint. I mean, they're scoring at a historic rate from a points per drive standpoint that's rivaling some of the best offenses we've seen going back to 2000. I mean, Daniel Jones' numbers when pressured are absolutely outstanding. Jonathan Taylor, it feels like you blink and he's in the end zone for the third time every single Sunday. But I do have some reservations about laying this kind of number on the road against the Steelers. A couple of reasons why. This will only be the second true road game that Indianapolis will play outside all season. Yes, they've played twice in Los Angeles, but in SoFi Stadium. So you wonder about the change in surface and if that slows the offense down. Playing the Tennessee Titans outside of a divisional game doesn't really count. The Titans are a glorified high school program at this point, the way things are going. And the other aspect worth considering is last week on Sunday Night Football, we saw the Green Bay Packers close as a 2.5-point favorite on the road at the Steelers. The Colts now as a 3.5-point favorite. Look, the Colts are good and they deserve all the accolades, maybe even the second best team in the AFC right now, but I do not make them a 1-point favorite against Green Bay on a neutral like the betting market suggests. So this could be the ultimate buy low spot on the Steelers, or if that defense craters for the third week in a row, then we can hit the panic button given how much more difficult this schedule gets going forward for Pittsburgh.
Furzy, thanks for dressing up today, and thanks for this as always.
Class act, gentlemen, and I will spare you the rendition of me singing "Oh Canada." I don't know it in English, I don't know it in French, and I don't know it in Spanish, so I can't help.
Thanks,
That's Todd Fuhrman. A great human, a great ambassador for the Blue Jays in the United States. Kyle, what do you got planned? How are you viewing the game tonight? What's your setup?
Standing up for most of it, to be perfectly honest with you. I do tend to stand in front of the TV, pacing a little bit. I was thinking about taking up smoking. I might chain smoke 6 or 7 packs of cigarettes tonight. I'm pretty low key. I'll be home alone watching it. I kind of wish I was with my parents watching it, but it's tough for them to both stay up this late. My dad will be up for sure, but I'm excited about our show because, we're either having a nervous conversation afterwards or we're celebrating as fans of the team. Win or lose, though, again, I'm so impressed by what we've been treated to by this World Series and by this baseball team. None of us were expecting it. And here we are, man. We have 2 chances to win a World Series over the next couple of nights.
Whether you're a fan of the Jays or whether you're a fan of the Dodgers or a fan of baseball, it has been an entertaining series. It's been an entertaining run for the Jays. Every single game, something big has happened. And it's just been a treat to watch. I'm going to be watching here with the family. And during the commercial breaks, our house gets very clean. I'm like, I gotta say, well, I gotta empty the dishwasher. Oh, I better fill the dishwasher.
Just wipe that counter down.
I better clean inside the dishwasher. So there's a lot of that going on, and it's the trick-or-treaters. Just the ne'er-do-wells come by 8 o'clock, so lights will be off by then, and if there's any candy left over, we're just gonna put it in a bowl on the front because we are not being interrupted. I'm gonna put something over top of the doorbell so the doorbell doesn't get rung either. So maybe I've got to DIY a little box so no one rings the doorbell either.
That's a great plan, Dan. No one trick-or-treats in my neighborhood anymore, so I don't have these concerns, and I hide inside.
You should see the amount of candy here. It's like a new subdivision. Like, we will have 400 to 500 trick-or-treaters tonight.
The optimism of youth. Dan, before we get going, I have a question to ask you. If an NHL hockey player scores his 500th goal, but everyone's watching a different sport, does anybody hear it?
No. No chance. Why? Someone did that?
John Tavares just scored his 500th goal, and it seems like there's very little conversation about it in the broader sports market in Canada right now, because the Jays, it just shows how dominant they have been in this headline space. And I follow the Leafs, and it's just pretty much silence. The birds on Twitter aren't chirping the way they normally would, but he deserves the accolades. He's been the best Toronto Maple Leafs this season, Maple Leafs player this season, in my opinion. And the congratulation goes out to him. We would have been ridiculous not to mention it, but once again, Maple Leafs, you got 2 more days to get your acting together, because then the attention turns to you.
Yeah, because any Leaf fan in my life, I'll ask, what's going on with the Leafs? They're garbage. I'm like, okay. They're like, I haven't been watching anyway. So exactly. The Jays have the attention of every Leaf fan and every sports fan in the country. So with CJ was giving us the Canadian numbers the other night. So you can guess, if they lead this game tonight, Sportsnet will have around 12 million, and whoever the French provider is, he said they had 9 million. So there will be over 20 million Canadians watching this game tonight.
We're talking 50% of the population of a first world country that has every distraction afforded it. But it's true, right? Like, we have every device, we have the highest speed of this, the most modern of that, and yet we're going to have at least half of our country turn their attention towards a baseball game tonight.
You know why?
At a time in history when we need it,
Yeah, because the people that are stuck on their phones, they are slowly realizing, oh, we're supposed to enjoy these moments together. Like, this is a moment that is beyond politics, is beyond anything. This is a moment we enjoy as a group. So you can all say, oh, did you see that last night? You can't go anywhere right now. I went to pick up a bag of salad the other day, sat and chatted Blue Jays for 10 minutes. Gas station, same thing. And everyone wants to be in on the conversation, because you don't want FOMO of being the person. Nah, didn't catch it. Why? What did the Blue Jays do? Didn't see. You can't be that person.
Dan, I was at my favorite hole-in-the-wall taco spot the other day, which is half Mexican restaurant, half variety store, in what I'm going to be honest with you, is a fairly rough part of town. And while I was in there waiting for my food, the guy behind the counter was having a conversation with the guy who delivers and restocks the potato chips, questioning Schneider's decisions in the 18-inning game the other night. And to me, that just sums this all up so perfectly. Once again, in this day and age, everyone has an opinion. Everyone's an asshole. But it's the best time to be that, because everyone wants to discuss this. And they're only having those opinions, and they're only doing that because we're all on edge right now. We're waiting for this glorious moment or this horrible disappointment, but the entire country has turned its attention to it, and it's fantastic.
And in 10, 15 years' time, I wonder if we'll see the Blue Jays Vince Carter effect on future baseball players, where all of a sudden we're like, holy crap, there's a lot of good Canadian baseball players now, because they fell in love with the game because of one team, which is exactly how everyone who is a fan of baseball and you're a grown adult, you have one team where you're like, oh, I like this sport.
Dan, that's a very good point, actually, because that does tend to happen. It's the reason Vince Carter is the reason basketball is so prominent in this country right now. Baseball had its run, but it's been over 30 years. Time to bring it home.
Yeah, can't wait. No matter what happens, we will be here with CJ Nitkowski after Game 6. It'll be a polar opposites of how we feel and how we look and how we speak. We'll only time will tell how any of those things play out. We'll see you tonight.